Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So racist Ryan Clark, he never disappoints. He comes out today and he says that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to tank the 2026 season so they can get a better draft pick in the NFL draft. And you know, it's amazing. Whenever people say to me, or in the comment section, they'll be like, why do you call Ryan Clark a racist? It's like, really? Do I really need to explain to you? Ryan Clark, not only is he an embarrassment to woke ESPN with his ridiculous takes and his 24-hour race baiting, he is a disgrace and an embarrassment to the black and gold. And I really wish that he would just leave the Steelers completely out of his mouth. But unfortunately, he is a Super Bowl winner. He does wear a Super Bowl ring that he won with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I can't just totally erase him from the history as much as I would like to. You know, let's look at the super chats real quick. Project PA says there are no tank seasons in the 4-1-2, and I couldn't agree more. And this just shows you when racist Ryan Clark says things like this, it just shows you he still can't grasp the concept that Mike Tomlin was the problem. He still cannot grasp this concept at all, that Coach Tomlin in 19 years couldn't draft a quarterback or develop one. So he's still in this mindset. Racist Ryan Clark is still in this mindset that it's the Steelers organization's fault, that it's the coaching staff, that it's Art Rooney, that it's the city of Pittsburgh, that it's the fans. The only person's fault who it was, why the Steelers couldn't draft a quarterback or develop one, was Mike Tomlin. And it's undeniable. He inherited Big Ben. I say this every day of my life. Mike Tomlin inherited Big Ben. And after that, what happened? So when Ryan Clark says things like this, it just shows you his mindset. Because now we have an offensive wizard in Mike McCarthy, and that's what he is. Mike McCarthy, who has worked with numerous Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, like 10 or 12 of them. He has a ridiculous track record going back 30 years, developing and working with quarterbacks. But Ryan Clark still wants you to believe that none of that, and it all boils down to Tomlin, and we know why he's saying it. I have to go there. We all know why he's saying it. It all boils down to none of this. The Steelers situation that we're in right now, according to Ryan Clark, none of it is Tomlin's fault. And just to, you know how Stephen A. Smith is. For years, he wouldn't let anybody say anything negative about Coach Tomlin. He was blaming Omar Khan for all these missed draft picks. He was blaming Omar Khan for the Steelers not being able to bring in a quarterback or develop. He was blaming everyone but Coach Tomlin. So the other day, Stephen A. Smith on his own show, he comes out and he says, I received a text message this morning from a Steelers insider, and the insider told me now that Tomlin's gone, Omar Khan will finally be able to be the GM and make the picks. So he confirms on his own show that in the last 19 years that Coach Tomlin was controlling everything. And that's exactly why the Steelers are in the abyss of mediocrity right now, because of Coach Tomlin. Because we have missed on pick after pick, first round, second round, third round. Every single year we've missed on picks except for the year that TJ Watt was drafted and Cam Hayward. Other than that, we've pretty much missed on every single pick. The all-seeing Goy 1590 says, yo there, what's up, brother? How are you? You know, the other day in the comments section, some guy was trying to, you don't know what you're talking about. You never played a sport in your life. Because I was talking about the draft pick. I was talking about the inside linebacker. I was talking about Devin Bush. And Devin Bush, in his 4 years on this, remember the Steelers traded up to draft Devin Bush. In his 4 years with the Steelers, he never had 50 tackles or more combined. Every single year it was like 44 combined tackles, 34 combined tackles, 14 combined tackles. I'm not going to pull up the stats right now. You know what? I might as well pull up the stats right now. Let me check it out. So hold on a minute. Devin Bush stats. Let's bring it up. He was calling me all types of names, calling me an idiot, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Devin Bush on the Steelers. Excuse me, I was wrong. In 2019, he had 72 combined tackles. In 2020, he had 16 combined tackles. In 2021, he had 41 combined tackles. In 2022, he had 44 combined tackles. We're talking about a first-round draft pick here. Those numbers don't exactly say that he's going to be the next Jack Lambert. The man didn't even average 50 tackles a year. He was a first-round draft pick. It's a total failure and bust. Just like Kenny Pickett. The Kenny Pickett pick set the organization back 10 years. So let me go back to Ryan Clark. We have a new coach now, Ryan Clark. And you might not like that he's a Caucasianoid, and that's fine. No big deal. You're entitled to your opinion. But when you get on TV and you're like, the Steelers need to tank this season and put in the quarterback that sucks and is the worst quarterback on the roster so they can get a better draft pick in the upcoming draft, you sound like a complete idiot. You're an idiot. You're just an idiot. And you're in full-blown denial why the Steelers are in the situation that they're in. I have bad news for you, Ryan Clark. It all started with Coach Tomlin. It didn't start with Art Rooney. Art Rooney let Tomlin have total control of the organization. But yet, oh, let's not forget Artie, the all-seeing Goy also. Artie Burns, KP8, Devin, they're all busts. These are busts. These are first-round picks that are busts. But, you know, according to racist Ryan Clark, let's tank the season in 2026. Because the organization didn't do enough for Tomlin. It really boils down to one thing. He just can't get past the race issue. Like, look, I don't care if our coach was green and he was from Mars. If he was the greatest coach ever and the defensive man, I'd be cheering him on all day long. But this is where you got to go with when you deal with racist Ryan Clark, because that's why he's saying this stuff, because he's trying to like deflect from Tomlin's failures. And that's what's going on here. So it's unfortunate, but that's what you're dealing with in 2026. And, you know, Ryan Clark, he's making $20 million a year to give these ridiculous takes. Let's jump into the article. Stephen A. Smith was on that for a long time, too. Art Rooney, he didn't do enough he didn't get Tomlin a quarterback. It's his fault. Who do you think's drafting the quarterback? And then you admit on your own show, you come out and you say it. Oh, well, Tomlin was running the whole organization for the last 19 years. Did you apologize to Art Rooney? Did you apologize to the Steelers organization? Did you apologize to Omar Khan? No, you just turned the page. No big deal. The all-seeing Goy 1590 says, dude actually believed in Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, exactly. Mitch Trubisky. Horrible. Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, God. I'm going to get nauseated thinking about it. We're in this situation because of Tomlin. This reset button should have started years ago. We got a lot of good pieces in place. You know, we do have a lot of good pieces in place. Now, fine, they're not like cream of the crop Hall of Fame players. They're decent players. They're average players. But that's where we are. That's exactly where we are. Here we go. Let's listen to this take. Ridiculous take by Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, Steelers 2026 quarterback should be whichever one makes them worse. Do you really get paid for this type of stuff, Ryan Clark? Do you really get paid for these types of takes? I'm honestly, I'm jealous. I'm jealous right now. I mean, I really am. If I'm totally honest, I'm jealous. I'll admit it. I'm jealous of Ryan Clark. Okay. He's making $20 million a year for takes like this, telling the Steelers to tank the season in 2026 because he can't admit that his god and his idol, Mike Tomlin, was the real issue with the Steelers drafting and developing a quarterback. Witness This 1000 says Artie Burns is top 10 worst draft pick all time. Colbert and Tomlin was terrible together. Well, a lot of people want to put it on Colbert, but Stephen A. Smith, he's not going to throw Tomlin under the bus. And I've been saying it for years. Tomlin has the final say on all picks, who they draft, who they don't draft, who plays, who doesn't play. And what do I get called in the comments section by the beat writers? Oh, he's just trying to paint a narrative that's not there. He just doesn't like Coach Tomlin personally. No, it's called operating in reality. And now you have Stephen A. Smith, a guy that shilled for Mike Tomlin for 20 years, who made it sound like Mike Tomlin could walk on water. And now he's coming out on his show and he's confirming it. Yep, for the last 19 years, Coach Tomlin made all the decisions with the Steelers roster. But of course, no apologies will be made after you just dragged everybody else's name through the mud. Because that's what Stephen A. Smith did for the last 19 years. Blamed it on Omar Khan, blamed it on Art Rooney, blamed it on the fan base. But hey, it's me. On ESPN's Get Up Thursday morning, former Steelers safety Ryan Clark said Pittsburgh should try to bottom out at quarterback to find that franchise passer in the future, particularly in the 2027 NFL draft. The Steelers should play with whatever quarterback makes them the worst, Clark said. Wow, what a genius take. What a genius take, huh? If that's Will Howard, go out there and play with Will Howard. If that's Kirk Cousins, go out there and play with him. What do you want? What you don't want to do is to get a Aaron Rodgers and win 8, 9, 10 games again. Oh, so let's win 2 games. Let's win 3 games. Oh, yeah, wait, hold on a minute. Art Rooney spent about $350 million paying all the players. You know what, Ryan Clark? Let's just not play, right? Maybe we can all sit around together, you included, and we can all get in a yoga pose, and we can all have a good cry together. We can write poems, and we can create narratives that are not there, and we can listen to stories from you, how you've had the worst life ever and all your other garbage that you talk about. I have a better idea. Let's all sit around and listen to poor me stories from Ryan Clark. It's just like, dude, shut up already. Just shut up. At some point, they got to get out of quarterback purgatory. They can't figure it out. So don't go out here and just put a Band-Aid over this quarterback position. Don't go out and put a Band-Aid over this quarterback position thing again. Excuse me. Well, Ryan Clark, if you really, Ryan Clark claims to know he claims to be really plugged in with the Steelers, and he's part of Steelers history. He claims to be really plugged in. Well, when Big Ben took over, Ryan, all the other pieces were in place and the quarterback was missing, and then they got Big Ben. And that's what the Steelers are doing right now. You can't just say, oh, well, how when you don't, Ryan Clark, when it's kind of like you. When you don't hear something that you don't like, you think like everything should be shut down, everybody should be canceled, you go totally crazy. Well, you can't really operate like that in the real world when things aren't going right. So even though the Steelers don't have their quarterback, they just can't say, well, we're going to shut down. We're only going to win 2 games. This isn't the NBA, Ryan Clark. We're not doing that, Ryan Clark. We're not, this is the Steel City. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the standard has been a complete joke for the last 19 years, thanks to your buddy, but we're not intentionally going to lose games. Ryan Clark, I guess you never saw Rod Woodson and Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd when the defense was tremendous and we had a terrible offense, and the defense would go out there and play lights out week in and week out. And depending on the offense, we pretty much went like 8-8. We finally got to the Super Bowl, but for a very long time, we didn't have a good team, but we fought tooth and nail to finally get to the Super Bowl that was thrown by Neil O'Donnell. But this take from Ryan Clark, it just pisses me off. He's just so delusional. He really is. There's not one person on the panel that will look over at Ryan Clark and be like, well, let me ask you something. Why are the Steelers in this quarterback purgatory? Why? I want to hear you explain to me why the Steelers are in quarterback purgatory. And he will blame everybody. Art Rooney, Steelers fans are racist, Steelers are cheap, they don't want to spend money. He'll go down the whole list. But the one thing that he'll leave off the list is that Coach Tomlin was drafting and developing these quarterbacks. So it just, let me move on from Ryan Clark because I can go on forever about him. He's just sickening. Ryan Clark, do us all a favor. You played for 4 other teams. I think you were on the Giants, somebody else. Please, for now on, just cover the Giants, man. Cover the Redskins. Cover what, you were on like 4 or 5 different teams. They probably couldn't put up with your nonsense in the building. So just cover those teams. Leave the Steelers out of your mouth, please. It's time to move on from you, Ryan. Now, I've been saying this all along. I don't think that Calvin Austin III should leave the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that what Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf on the outside, that Calvin Austin III under Mike McCarthy will have the best year of his career in this offense. And I do think that if Calvin Austin III leaves the Steelers, he's not going to have as long as of a career that if he stayed with the Steelers. He's been a very productive slot receiver for the Steelers. Smaller guy, obviously super fast, super explosive. But Calvin, if you outprice yourself and nobody picks you up, then what? I mean, I know you got your agent, Drew Rosenhaus, and who am I to tell another man what he should think he's worth? But play this smart. Your agent sometimes is unreasonable. Under this new offense with Mike McCarthy and the 2 outside receivers, maybe you sign a 1-year deal. You come back for 1 year. You're going to put up big numbers, and then you go on the market again next year. You're probably going to get the money you're looking for. Me personally, I'd love to have you in Pittsburgh your whole career. You're a good person. You're good in the locker room. You're a good player. You're a slot receiver. You're not going to make $30, $50 million a year like DK Metcalf. You're not that type of receiver. You're not an outside receiver. Hey, again, I'm not telling you how much money. Oh, you should only ask for this. That's none of my business. But I think you're making a mistake if you don't stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Schefter reports Steelers lose wide receiver Calvin Austin III to Giants. Oh, you know what? This must have just happened. I gave you that whole spiel for nothing. There was another article written by Ray Filippo that said that Calvin Austin potentially will come back with the Steelers. So I thought I was about to read you this. So it's over. It's over. Excuse me. I messed up. Calvin Austin signed with the New York Giants. After 4 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers, wide receiver Calvin Austin III is moving on. According to a report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, Austin is signing a 1-year deal with the New York Giants worth up to $4.5 million. See, this is a mistake. What did I just say? I didn't know that this happened. What did I just say? This is a mistake. He's going to go to the Giants. And you know what? I mean, it's up in the air how good Jackson Dart actually is. But I don't think the Giants have 2 outside studs like the Steelers do. So if he would have stayed on the Steelers, he would have had a big year this year. And then, if he signs a 1-year deal with the Steelers, I think he would have got more money. I think this is a mistake because I think on the Giants that Calvin Austin III is not going to have as good of a season. I think this was a career mistake. I think this was a bad business decision. I really do. And for only $4.5 million for 1 year, I think the Steelers would have gave him $3 million, $3.5 million. This is a bad decision. This is typical Drew Rosenhaus. I'm not going to get into his stats. He's gone. He was a solid player for us. And I think when we look back on this decision by Calvin Austin III, this was not a smart decision by him or Drew Rosenhaus at all. So it's unfortunate. I didn't know that. This must have just happened right now. I was about to read another article with the possibility of him returning. So supposedly the Steelers have one big move left in free agency. Beat writer says and names where. I think that they'll bring in another starting capable guard, Mark Capoli said on 93.7 The Fan yesterday when asked about the Steelers' remaining free agency plans. He cited options like Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, though for some reason he thought Teller was 27. He's 31. Hey, I'm not going to get into the contracts of all these guards, but I did not like losing Isaac Seumalo at all. I think the Steelers could have resigned him. I think they should have resigned him. Everybody's going to obviously point out to he had some injuries. He missed a couple games here or there. but I thought he brought a lot to the Steelers. He was still graded very high by Pro Football Focus. He was gritty. He was tough. He was a good, and when he played, he was a very good player. And it's not like he was missing, the whole season. He didn't have major injuries, some pectoral issues. But I think this is a mistake also by the Steelers. I did not like losing him. Let's listen to what Isaac had to say. Isaac SEUMALO explains why he signed with the Cardinals. I want to win. Well, I don't think you'll be doing much winning down there, Isaac. If you thought the Steelers were in bad shape, the Cardinals are a lot worse. I want to win with a team that wants me here. Well, that's very telling. This is a real bad habit of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is the one thing I will criticize. Well, I criticize Art Rooney for two things. That Art's my guy. That Mr. Rooney's my guy. And I always do everything I can to protect him and try to spin things in a positive light. Fine, I'm a little biased. I want the team to do well. I want the black and gold to always do well, the city, the fans. But there's two things with Art Rooney that get to me sometimes. The food in the stadium is horrible, Mr. Rooney. We really need to do something. The pizza smells like feet. The hot dogs are horrible. Like, it's bad. And I'm not just saying it just to have something to say. I've literally had better hamburgers and hot dogs and french fries at Pop Warner games. The food is horrible. We need to bring in some hibachi grill there. We need to get creative at the game. We need to make it a better experience for the fans. And I tried everything to give you the benefit of the doubt. I tried the popcorn. I tried a hamburger. I tried pizza. I tried some type of chicken sandwich when I went to the Colts game. And if I'm completely honest with you, I got to give the food a F. And I know you're not cooking the food. And I know the vendors are like big brand name vendors, but they're not living up to their part of the bargain. We need to shop around. And that's all you see when you go in the stadium. There's just big popcorn buckets everywhere. And there's extra food. People take a bite and just leave it. Maybe they're drunk. I don't know what's going on. But I know the quality of the food is not good. The pizza literally smells like bad feet. And it's not good. And it's expensive. So my two biggest, criticisms of Art Rooney is the food. And when we have to re-sign free agents, proven players that have played for the Steelers and shown you that they can play, we always get, from the outside looking in, it just appears to me we always give our solid Steelers who are very solid in the locker room a hard time. Now, fine, the other day you did a good job with Cam Hayward. I'll give you that. You added a year to his deal. You gave more money. You kept him happy. Fine. He's really getting close to the end. But still, let's just say he has another dynamite year this year. And then next year it costs you even more money. I think you handled that situation very well. But the TJ Watt contract, I want TJ to get the money. Don't get me wrong. But the TJ Watt contract was handled wrong from the jump. They should have re-signed TJ before Max Crosby set the market. And once Max Crosby set the market, I don't blame TJ Watt. Max Crosby is not better than TJ Watt. Even last year, numbers-wise, he's not better than TJ Watt. He's one of the most overrated players in the NFL. I don't even think he's at 100 sacks yet. Cam Hayward is basically at 100 sacks as a nose guard, defensive tackle. Mr. Handsome 4588 says, hey, as a Giants fan, what are your thoughts on Calvin Austin? I think you got a very reliable player. When he plays, he doesn't miss entire seasons, but he'll miss a couple games here or there. Hopefully he doesn't. I like him. He's great in the locker room. He can make a big play for you. He could take it to the house in a heartbeat. And if you have other pieces around him, he'll be even more dangerous. He'll be even more explosive. So I really wanted the Steelers to re-sign him. If you had DK Metcalf on the outside with Pittman on the other side, and then he could really eat you up over them. I thought if he stayed this year, he would have had his best year, the best year of his career with the Steelers. Paranormal Funhouse says, Calvin Austin, we loved him. He's fast. Yep, he's very fast. Good guy in the locker room. Never had a QB, but he will do great. We will miss him. I agree, but not only did he not have a QB, he didn't have any other receivers to take pressure off of him. So, you don't want him to get doubled up all the time. Excuse me. I mean, he really wasn't doubled, but he was easier to pinpoint. if you got DK Metcalf running around, you got Michael Pittman running around, and the defenses are really focused on those two receivers, and then you have the smaller, extremely fast slot receiver, and you forget about him, he can really gouge you during a game. So, all right, let me get back to what Isaac Seumalo had to say. Isaac said, "I'll be honest with you, money's good, can't complain." Seumalo said via the Cardinals Twitter X account, "I'm not going to pretend that's not part of it. One of the best available guards in free agency, Seumalo inked a 3-year, $31.5 million deal with the Cardinals. It's a raise over the contract he received in Pittsburgh 3 years ago, one worth $8 million per season, and a big payday for what's likely the last long-term contract Seumalo will sign in his career." Seumalo offered an honest answer and reality that money plays a leading role in where players end up. I didn't know he was only getting $8 million per season. Damn. All right, so he's getting 10 here or whatever. Not much of a difference, but it's a difference. For Seumalo, Arizona is fate. I bought a house out here last year in Gilbert, he said, and then got out here about a month and a half ago. Now I'm here all year round. I'm super happy. You got to remember, he's Samoan. You know, I'm sure he doesn't like the cold weather. I don't blame him. I don't like the cold weather. You know, Arizona's hot as hell all year round. And if the Steelers don't want to pay him, you know, the money that the market sets, I can't blame him for leaving. So I'm sure he, you know, I understand why he feels the way he feels. He got the money he's looking for. He gets the son that he's looking for. And it's a wrap. He's out and he's not coming back. And I think that was a mistake by the Steelers. Mr. Handsome 4588 says, "Thanks for the info. We'll take care of him." Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in, but he's a good player, solid player. He can eat you alive if you got, you know, other receivers on the outside. So, and he's clutch. You know, I think he caught the winning touchdown pass to put us in the playoffs. Like, he doesn't drop a lot of balls, but he gets nicked up and banged up from time to time. The only negative thing I could say about Calvin Austin is from time to time he gets banged up a little bit. That's it. Not major injuries, but he'll miss a game here or there. Very good person in the locker room. It's never a problem. So here are the Steelers' 2026 NFL draft picks. I'm not reading all of these. I'm just going to count how many. We got one first rounder, 21st overall. All right, I'll read it. Second round, 53rd overall. Third round, 76 overall for the George Pickens trade. Third round, 85th overall. Third round, 90. Wow, we got 3 third-round draft picks, 2 fourths, 1 fifth, a sixth, and well, we got a lot of picks. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 12 picks in this year's draft. Well, hopefully we leverage some of those picks. We really need to get a safety. So I'm not saying he was directing this at me, but I do watch a lot of Oregon USC football. And if Caleb Downs, you know, I think he's going to be a top 5 pick, the safety from Ohio State. Let's calm down and not compare him to Troy Polamalu yet. He hasn't played a down of NFL football, so let's take it easy. But if he's not there, the kid Thiemann from Oregon, and people are like, "Oh, you're hopping on my train." But I'm not hopping on anybody's train. I watched probably 4 or 5 games this year, USC and Oregon, and just a couple of flat out Oregon games. And I thought he was a linebacker. He's big, he's fast, he can cover. Like, you see him on the field, he looks a lot bigger. He has good instincts. And then you've seen his combine numbers. Like, he put up outstanding numbers. Somebody that athletic and that versatile and that plays with that type of aggression, I would love, if the Steelers took him in the first round, I'm not going to complain. And I am not jumping on anybody's train. I actually watch college football, especially that division. I call it the Pac-10, but, you know, USC is now in the Big 10 or USC. I think it's ridiculous that USC plays Penn State, Minnesota, and all these teams, you know, kind of in the Northwest, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, if you're a kid, you go to play USC at USC, you want to play in the sun. I want to play Cal. I want to play Arizona. I want to play San Diego. I don't want to play Penn State. I don't want to play, you know, Minnesota. I don't want to play anywhere cold. But hey, you know, that's college football these days. It's all about the money. No amount of money is ever good enough. Insiders offer new timeline for Aaron Rodgers' decision. My understanding was Aaron Rodgers planned to inform the Steelers of his decision at some point before the draft with plenty of time. Rappaport told the show. I would say likely end of this month. During the NFL Combine, GM Omar Khan said he believed Rodgers would decide his future sooner than later. Without a repeat of last season, without a repeat of last offseason, that didn't conclude until June. While Khan wasn't confident in believing an answer would come before the start of free agency, he was positive it would happen before April's draft. ESPN's Adam Schefter shared the same sentiment. The feeling initially was mid-March, but that seemed to be pushed back some, he said. Look, it is what it is. He's old. The Steelers are in a tough spot. He played well for us last year. He looked his age at certain times. And again, I don't, when I give myself a timeout and I take a deep breath, you have to if Aaron Rodgers wants to play, you have to let him come in and compete for the job. And if Will Howard can't beat him out and no other quarterback on the roster can beat him out and he's your best option, then he has to play. It's as simple as that. As much as I want to go in a new direction, if Will Howard clearly can't beat him out, then he needs to play. So I'm not even going to talk about this really. I mean, he might have some injuries that he's getting taken care of. Maybe he's getting his knee scoped. I'm sure it's keeping under wraps. So I'm sure there's other things going on with this decision, besides the money, or if he wants to, maybe there's some health issues. He did have broken bones in his wrist ending the season. So there could be other issues going on there, but let's just give him the time that he wants and he needs, because we're not in a position to be like, you know what, F you, we're over it, we're moving on. We're not in that position. All this high hopes for Will Howard. Yeah, I'm going to be positive too, just because I want the Steelers to do well. But we haven't even seen Will Howard in the preseason. So it's kind of hard to tell somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who was still a top 15 quarterback in the NFL last year, to, take a hike, get lost. We got our guy. And the kid's never even played a down in the preseason yet. So everybody pump the brakes. Let's be adults. Let's act responsible. TJ Hushmanzada, Michael Pittman Jr. going to be a leader for Steelers. I agree with TJ Hushmanzada. I don't know why they got rid of Pittman. Hushmanzada said recently of the Colts on the Speakeasy podcast, they didn't want to pay him. Obviously, Pittman is a leader of the team, somebody you want on your team. Pittman brought Alec Pierce out here to train. He brought him out here, and Pierce was like, I've never done like this ever in my life before. I've never done nothing like this ever in my life before. Excuse me. Pittman, he's just a leader. He's a good dude. He's a guy you want on your team. He's going to go to Pittsburgh and he's going to be a leader. Well, that's what I want to hear. I agree completely. The Steelers made the right decision with Michael Pittman Jr. They didn't go for the big splash with Tyreek Hill. Just nothing but problems and issues, making the police blotter all the time. We acted like professionals. We got the receiver that's has no off the field issues, who acts professional, who shows up for work on time, who shows up to games on time, who doesn't call out his quarterback on the sidelines. The Steelers absolutely made the right decision with Michael Pittman Jr. And on top of it, he's the prototype receiver. He's 6'5". He runs good routes. I can't say enough good things about Michael Pittman Jr. And TJ's like, he can't figure out why. Well, they paid they paid the other receiver, Pierce, a boatload of money. It was just basically over. They didn't want to pay him. The Steelers gave up a 6th-round pick for Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, they had to pay him because that's the market. They had to pay the man a certain amount of money. But I'm not going to complain about that because the market is the market, and that's it. So great pickup for the Steelers. Good job. The Kyle Murray signing with the Steelers talk can officially end. He signed with the Vikings, thank God. I'm tired of hearing about Kyle Murray, all the so-called ESPN analysts saying that Kyle Murray's going to sign with the Steelers. Thank God. New Tampa Bay running back Kenneth Gainwell wanted to sign with Buccaneers over Steelers last offseason. All this has to do with is the weather. That's all it is the weather. Kenneth Gainwell appreciates his 1-year stint with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but if he had it his way, he would have been in Tampa a year earlier. Speaking to reporters during his introductory press conference after signing a 2-year deal with the Bucks. Gainwell wanted to fly south last offseason. It was a great option for me, Gainwell told reporters via Tampa Bay's YouTube channel Thursday afternoon. I wanted to be here last year, but I'm happy to be here now. Well, I think this is another loss for this. He was a very, very good player for the Steelers last year. Catching passes out of the backfield, picking up the tough yards. You know, if you needed 2 yards, he got 3. He ran the ball super hard. Kenneth Gainwell is an excellent player. He's had a very bizarre career as an NFL player. Somebody this talented and this good. You know, last year, he's like 10 years in, and last year was the most rushing yards he's ever had in his NFL career, which was like 570 yards, which is very hard to believe, but he's had a very strange career. But he's a very good player. I think the Steelers are going to miss his productivity. You know, I know the new running back from Carolina. I don't know anything about him, so I'm just going to have to wait and see like everybody else. Former Steelers special teams captain Miles Killebrew signing with the Buccaneers. Probably wants to reunite with Danny Smith. I'm glad to hear that Miles Killebrew rebounded from his ACL tear. Looks like things are going good for him. Good for him. I think we're going to miss him. Beat writer believes Steelers only signing Kirk Cousins if they are stuck. Well, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play and you got to bring a body in, bring in Kirk. I mean, I'm sure he's not going to get huge money, but, you know, you got to bring somebody in. Here, this is what I'm talking about. All of these so-called analysts, they always have all the problem child players and all the quarterbacks that can't play and absolutely suck. According to all these so-called analysts, all of these players should sign with the Steelers. Analyst floats idea of Steelers acquiring quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. couldn't even beat out Kirk Cousins. So why would we sign Michael Penix Jr. over Kirk Cousins if he could barely beat him out? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Oh, here we go. All of these ESPN analysts, they're just unbearable. Send them to Pittsburgh. How about this? How about the Steelers? Instead of just being parked in the whatever of elite mediocrity, they actually used this offseason to evaluate a young passer. Hansis said Wednesday on his Heed the Call podcast. I'm not reading. This guy, he's just an idiot. Listen, Michael Penix Jr. is a first-round pick 3 years ago. His first season or two, he couldn't even beat out. Not Sam Darnold. Why am I forgetting it? I was just talking about him. Hold on. Give me a second. Bear with me. He couldn't even beat out Kirk Cousins his first year or two. And then he finally, I don't even think he beat him out. The Falcons were like, you know what? He's got to play. He's a first round pick. They give him the job. Kirk Cousins demands to be traded. But for the first 2 years, he couldn't even beat out Kirk Cousins. So why would we sign Michael Penix Jr. over Kirk Cousins if we were really in a bind? Kirk Cousins is only 37 years old. Just give him a 1-year deal. Just go on a 1-year deal. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play, give him a 1-year deal and go from there. But these takes, these so-called analysts who are making millions of dollars a year, do you watch football? Do you even know what a football is? Do you even pay attention? Michael Penix Jr. couldn't even beat out Kirk Cousins his first 2 years in the league. He's a first-round pick. They finally handed him the job, and Kirk Cousins was like, I want to be traded. Like, so why would you sign Michael Penix Jr. over Kirk Cousins? Like, let's talk about your logic. You have no logic. Let me see what else is going on. Steelers signing Rico Dowdle, a little concerning for Caleb Johnson, thinks Chris Sims. Oh, Caleb Johnson's done. He's a bust. Another bad pick by Tomlin. We wasted a third-round pick on Caleb Johnson, Roman Wilson. I mean, the list goes on and on, all the bad picks that Tomlin made. Roman Wilson will never play. I think Caleb Johnson's career is over before it even started. Keanu Benton played a little bit better last year, but for a third-round pick, might have been second. It might have been second, but no later than a third. Hasn't really worked out. Keanu Benton needs to be a defensive end. Instead, we're playing him over the nose guard. It's like, Do I expect these players to play better under Coach McCarthy and that coaching staff? Do I think our players will be much better? Yes, I do. So it's not fair just to get rid of everybody, but so far the picks and the way they've been coached, it was a complete disaster under Tomlin. And for anybody that doesn't think so, I think you're just saying things for all the wrong reasons, and I'll just leave it at that. Here's a report from Jerry Dulac. Steelers not giving up on Roman Wilson or Caleb Johnson. Okay, well, when they don't even make the roster, when Mike McCarthy has seen enough to cut them this year, don't say I didn't warn you. Let me see if anything else is going on. We'll have Trey Hendrickson in the division now. Trey Hendrickson signed with the Baltimore Ravens. People are like, oh, you're so lucky. Max Crosby didn't sign with the Ravens. That would have been trouble for the Steelers. Oh, you mean the most overrated player in the NFL? His numbers are average. He's not even at 100 sacks yet. He's like in year 10, year 8, whatever. He's not even at 100 sacks. That's not even 10 sacks a season. Even everybody says, oh, TJ Watt fell off. He's not good last year. TJ Watt in every single category but one was better than Max Crosby. And Max Crosby had 8 sacks and TJ Watt had 7. And TJ Watt missed 3 games because of that the situation with his lung. That wasn't even his fault. So Max Crosby is the most overrated player in the entire NFL. The Steelers would have not been in big trouble because of Max Crosby. And I think Trey Hendrickson is a better player than Max Crosby, but he doesn't get the publicity because he doesn't wear Gucci pocketbooks or matching Gucci, and he's not covered in tattoos from head to toe. So, automatically the fans think that Trey Hendrickson sucks because he's not covered in tattoos. All right, I'm not going to read about speculation about who the Steelers are drafting, but I do think the Steelers are going to. Well, I mean, they could go offensive tackle, linebacker, safety. Those 3 areas are a real concern for the Steelers at this point. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for everybody tuning in on the super chats. I'll see you tomorrow. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football. The 4, 1, 2.